Hello and welcome to the shooting show. We've got an action-packed show for you this week, including stalking, a mixed day at the Hadley Shoot and some air gunning for feral pigeon as well. First, we've got a double header as Chris Dalton heads to the Graithwaite estate in the Lakes for the end of the Red Rut, but before stalking for rodos on his home turf.
So the plan this morning.
So the plan this morning is we're going to move away from here down to what we call the can, or the bottom of the can, where I believe there's a lot of activity. So we're going to start at the bottom of the can, and then we're going to walk along the edge of the river or edge of Cunsey Beck, and then from there we'll probably just nip up, maybe onto the fell, or go somewhere entirely different and just see what's going on.
Holding it in and out under them trees, isn't it? Right. That's that same stag. Yeah, he's wary. He's wary. He's obviously wary. He knows there's another one about, so I'm looking at my roar. No, I'm not, because I'm shit at roaring. Moderate and uptight. I mean, everything about that felt 100%.
What do you think? Do you think we ought to go?
We'll go and have a look here. Beautiful valley like this, there's 3 or 4 stags chasing around, a really super stag. And then the twat behind the rifle fucks it up. You know what, I should have been sat in that high seat.
we'll wander back, will we?
Yeah. Thank you very much for this morning.
Not at all.
It's been absolutely awesome. Apart from the twat behind the rifle, but we won't mention that. Just interested really, just a bit of the background about the estate. I mean, it's a beautiful place, a lot of these native woodlands and that. I mean, it looks, obviously there's a lot of management and thought going into kind of try and keep it the way it is. Is that the case?
Yeah, that's right. My father's, brought this estate on to where it is now, and I think my brother's now just taking it on the next step, and he's wanting to encourage, kind of, I don't know if de-Victorianisation is the right way to describe it, but sort of, putting the curves back in the rivers, turning it back how it once perhaps was before the Victorians came in and started commercial, agriculture.
I've seen a bit about that recently. I wasn't aware of that, and it makes infinite sense because you're just basically letting nature do what nature does. Nature creates and protects floodplains by Oxbow Lake kind of effect.
I think it's going to benefit me, with the deer as well. I think
definitely
they're going to remove all the sheep, which is great for me, great for the deer, great for the natural regeneration in the woods. As we were looking before, this is sort of an absolute carpet of natural regen oaks.
Yeah.
And if we manage to keep on top of the deer and the farmer keeps the sheep out, then hopefully they will get away. Certainly in areas of where windblown trees, we're leaving the crowns of the trees actually now windblown.
See that. Yeah.
To try and encourage.
But again, nature's way.
Yeah.
Be interesting. I mean, we're talking about coming back in the winter to do some hinds with you, hopefully. Be interesting just to see towards the end of the winter what that still looks like, whether that's been hammered or whether it is still. I mean, some of it wants taken out because again, that's nature's way.
Yep. This year we're actually really, in the next few years, because of what Ed, my older brother, is planning to do with the estate, we're going to try and really hit them a bit harder.
Yeah.
Just like I say, just take the pressure off the woodlands.
Just to allow that natural regeneration, just to get the balance right.
But then again, if the sheep are being taken off and that's his plan, then there's going to be less pressure on the field, so the deer might spend a bit more time in the fields and give less pressure.
Well, we've seen kind of evidence of that this morning, where traditional rutting ground, where the deer weren't, the sheep were, and when they get in the area where the sheep weren't, the deer were. It's pretty obvious because they don't like that wash, that smell. The sheep eat everything anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah, interesting. Good.
Yeah.
Well, it's been a privilege. It's a lovely place, and I look forward to coming back and practice my shooting.
Definitely, no. We'll look forward to having you back. That seems like a good plan. Absolutely.
Thank you very much for the morning.
Not at all.
Cheers.
Thank you. Glad you enjoyed it.
So, in view of the Muppet sitting here, we thought we'd better put another package on. You can actually see that I can do occasionally hit things that I'm shooting at. This morning we're out early, beautiful morning. It's been frosty, it's quite a late frost, and we've got the Argo cat with us. What I want to do is there's a high seat, the far end of this track, which is not in a good position. It's got a bit overgrown now, it's been there a while. We've got a nice vantage of a valley down below us, so we're actually going to move it and put it there, so reset that, but we're coming early like we normally do. Just going to have an hour. Just down the valley in here, there's been quite a few deer going down to railway lines. So we're going to go and have a look at that first. See if we can get something shot, and then we'll come back and we'll do the work and we'll move the seat. But beautiful, beautiful morning. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, you see what happened there? Really cold out in the open, so we've come into the more sheltered part of the forest where it's a lot warmer. And I've been working through to come into little open areas just in the trees. That's where I thought the deer would be, and that's exactly where they were. We've got a row there which is pretty much 100, just slightly under 100 yards away. Initially good reaction to shot, went down. I'm pretty sure the shot was good, but you can see kind of got up and managed to run almost front end was down, so that still indicates to me the shot was okay. But what we'll do now is I'll just leave it for 10 minutes, 5-10 minutes, just let everything settle down. Initially just check the shot site, see what evidence there is there, and then from that I can make a reasonable assessment of the situation. But I'm pretty sure the deer should be not got far, maybe just to the edge of the tree line, just through these trees. There's some hawthorn here, then it kind of goes into a bit of a ride, then it's quite thick underneath. Might have made the edge of the tree line. But one of these situations where you never actually know till you get down there and find out. But always wait, don't be too eager to rush straight in, just got everything settled down. Okay, you see the initial point of contact, strike if you like. Massive blood loss, ran forward, fell over there, turned and somehow managed to run losing blood and bits of lung. And probably a few splashes here. Girl. Okay, Dad, good girl. Good girl.
Welcome to the Hadley Shoot. Some of you guys have shot with us before, some of you haven't. I hope you enjoy your day today. Around 100-ish birds. We're probably looking for more partridges than pheasants if we can, so if we've got good pheasants next to good partridge, please try and take the partridge. We're standing 8 and we'll move up 3, number right to left. Some are pegged, some I'll place you. Just
Go over there somewhere.
Oh,
Yeah.
Odds up, evens down.
Shot together for cool.
I'm not playing any of these bloody games.
What Adam's trying to do now is, Adam and his team of beaters are just pushing the birds from the left to the right, and then hopefully over the top of the guns here. I'm pegged at number 8 to the end of the line, but I reckon we might get a couple of birds going straight over us, back over.
But this is one of the original knockabout drives
Yeah,
that
yeah,
Dad
yeah,
always
yeah.
had. So the hedgerow over on the horizon over there that we used to came past when we came out the farm is where we used to release the 60 pheasants.
But that's how these things start, aren't they?
Yeah,
I mean,
it's more me than him. He just twisted his arm and put more and more and more down. So.
Trying to be as selective as possible as to what we're shooting and make sure that what we are shooting is the best possible. So many birds coming over as well, and loads of really good pheasants. Had about 10 shots, 12 shots maybe, 3 or 4 birds down, so not too bad. We'll get these picked up.
No, we were all thinking it. All too polite. I don't know about that. Yeah, cool. Yeah.
That dog's looking. This jumper's coming off.
Yeah. Oh, it's warm, isn't it?
Last year.
Handmade, Jules. Handmade.
Oh, where? He is just dark yellow, but as a fashion thing, yes, he is a fox red lab.
Somebody else does that. I've heard of it.
Yeah, it's quite impressive, isn't it?
It's fashion.
Killers, isn't it?
You find napkins or not?
Anyone else want to grab some coke?
So you've got Badger's Hill Drive there, there's a gutter below that brow that you can't see, so
I'm
that's
going to
one
ask.
drive.
Badger's Hill,
Full of badgers.
full of badgers, right?
Biggest
okay.
badger set, you lose a pickup in there. Parks here, which we're going to shoot now, which is this
Right.
gutter here,
Oh,
the
wow.
cover crop, and then on
Yeah,
the far horizon, where the beaters are coming from, bringing through, is Garlic Hill.
Right, okay.
Pens down in the bottom on the other side.
Yeah, and you've got your man blanking.
Blanking this in, so we'll drop down in behind him, line this out and bring it back
Right.
this way.
Amazing. So 26 gram sixes, one of the Hull's high pheasant loads for the 16 bore. Absolutely incredible little load. End of October, absolutely fine for pheasants and partridge. And these birds are getting up to about 40 yards. Nice and clean. I think we'll be in quite a good position here. Peg number 3. There's a few birds moving already. Oof. The English partridge tend to fly quite low, and they used to drive them over small hedges, and what we just saw was a typical English partridge sort of scene. The birds came out, they took in low, and then they flared over this hedge. And say on these sort of days, it's really not all about numbers. It's about seeing your friends shoot, missing a couple and then getting laughed at. There's the English partridge again, back over us. That's amazing to see them, isn't it? There was about 10 come over.
Yeah, they'll come in and then they'll come back, see, because the pickers are out the back there.
Yeah.
That's nice, that's exactly what I wanted. Where we bring them to, stopping.
So what we have here is, from the second drive, we have a French partridge and our native English partridge. So you can see the difference straight away. The English on the left here, lovely mottled grey and white feathers. The French, these really vivid, vibrant blues almost, and not a different bird so much in size. The English is a little bit smaller, but these make a hell of a chatter when they go over the line. And we saw a load come over there. There was maybe 10 of these little native birds come over, and they're an absolute pleasure. They fly completely different. I didn't think we'd shot any, but obviously someone's managed to get one out of about 10 that went over on that second drive, and I think they're absolutely incredible little birds. Beautiful little things, so I might take this one home.
You shot an English partridge?
No, I was on it. Oh, we right.
It dropped between 3 and 4.
My pet.
I'm not like some others.
That's a good thing.
Yeah.
That's the pleasurable thing. No, not many people can say that.
Just depends on what pheasants are there, how the weather is, if there's any ducks on the river.
Just say the partridge part. Number 7 and 8? Yeah. And go with Kevin, and Kevin will play shoot.
As with all the shooting I do, I am looking for something I can take home for dinner. I know that we shot a grey partridge on the second drive, so that is going to be cooked, and I will probably take home as many pheasants and partridges as possible because I need them for the freezer. These birds this time of year, they've got a nice amount of fat on them, they cook up really, really well, and we'll be having some parties over Christmas that I know a big game pie will be really, really useful for. It's partridge making the way over this way. Another good drive.
This week we're going to be having a little look at the BSA CLX and also seeing if we can use it to good effect on some feral pigeons in some barns. So one or two of you may recognise me from other YouTube channels such as The Shooting Show. I'm out doing a bit of fox shooting and stuff with a centrefire rifle or a bit of rabbit control, that kind of thing, and also I quite like a bit of long range shooting. However, I've always been an air rifle enthusiast right from probably 35 years ago. I had my first BSA air rifle, a Mercury Challenger, which I've still got and still shoots very well, and I've just been into air rifles ever since. So it's quite fitting actually that today I'm having a little play around with another BSA, and this one's a lot different to my old Mercury Challenger. This is a CLX, a BSA CLX pre-charged air rifle in 177. You can probably tell actually by the way I'm holding this rifle that I am a disabled shooter, or as other people call it, a left-hander. This rifle is quite clearly a right-handed rifle with quite a nice figured stock there, which means that for a right-handed shooter it'd be very comfortable. However, for me being a left-hander, it's pretty common for us to have to adapt and overcome. So I'm going to be using it, and to be honest, I can shoot that without any bother. Obviously not as comfortably as a right-hander would, but never mind, I shall be making do. But incidentally, this rifle does come in a ambidextrous stock as well, so you have got the option if you are a fellow lefty. Right, so my little mission for today is just down on this farmyard. As you can see behind me here, there's some barns and that, and the feral pigeons fly in here. They come in from the other side generally, fly in and land up on the girders and that there, and they've made a real mess, which we're going to have a look at in a minute, all through the barn floor and that, and all over some of the equipment in the barn where they've just crapped on it. And so the farmer's just asked if I'd come down and knock a few over. So the air rifle is the perfect tool for the job. Now, there's not very many pigeons in here, I don't think. I think there's probably 8 to 10, something like that normally. That's normally what flies out whenever I come and have a look. So yeah, it might be a case of a few visits and just knock over what I can. So I've just had a pigeon fly in there, but I can't see where it's landed. It's somewhere up on the roof. There's a bit of a gap between the sheet roofing on the top, and then there's like an inner layer as well, and the pigeons fly in and they get up in there, up within the roof. So I'm just going to sit tight for a minute, hoping in a minute he flutters a little bit or just moves along the girder a bit and I can see him. Oh, here he is. It's a lovely little compact rifle. This is perfect for this sort of thing, nice and manoeuvrable. Really wishing I brought my thermal imager with me, because with that I'd be able to spot them so much easier, because in the shadows of that roof it makes them very difficult, with the grey bodies of the pigeons, it makes it very difficult to spot them. There's another one down. You'll see also I'm using an element scope on here. This one's the Helix. It's I think it's a 4 to 16. I can't quite see because I've got an adapter on there. I think it's a 4 to 16 by 44, but it's a nice scope for this sort of thing. And as always, sports match mounts. Again, that's something else that I use on the centre fires. Another nice little nifty feature which I like about this rifle, I don't think you can see it on the camera, but on the back of the magazine here there's a little counter which tells you how many shots you've got left to fire, which is really good because when you sort of the action gets going, it's easy to lose track. A bit like Dirty Harris's in that film. Do I fire 6 shots or only 5? Well, in this case we've got 12, so we've got a fair few in there, but they've got to run out at some point. So I'm quite surprised these birds aren't coming in a bit quicker. Normally when they fly out of the barn any other day they will circle around and they go straight back in again. But they're not that stupid, they know something's amiss. I might have a little walk round because sometimes they sit up on the roof. Let's go have a look. So it's pretty clear to see the mess these birds are making. There's just piles of droppings here, and obviously that's definitely a health risk, and not to mention that it's all over all the farm equipment, so it's not very nice for the farmer either. Right, so that's thinned out a few of the ferals in the barn there. I think what I'll do is I'll probably come back tomorrow with the thermal imager and see if I can knock down 1 or 2 more. I've popped back this morning for another little look-see around. I've already walked over to the barns there, and there was only 1 feral pigeon flew out of there, so that's a good reduction in numbers there, so I think the farm will be happy with that. It just needs to put a bit of sheeting up around that roof to stop any more getting in there. But what I am going to do, I think this morning, I'm going to have a little look around this wood here just to see if there's any squirrels or maybe a rabbit in there somewhere. So yeah, got a nice morning, so I thought I'd just have a little wander around there. A couple of squirrels up in this oak tree. See if I can go to this dead tree and use that as a rest. Right, I've got one here if I can get onto him. Good. There seems to be quite a lot of squirrels here, but certainly using the thermal imager, it just makes life so much easier trying to spot them in the trees. Otherwise you'd have to kind of wait for them to move and then you catch the movement. But with this, even if they're sitting still, you can just see them just sat there, pick them up straight away. It's brilliant. Even if they're just poking their head around the corner of the tree, you find them with this. Really frustrating hunting squirrels because you can see them in the thermal and they're clear as day, and as soon as you try and find them on a scope, they've either moved or you just can't pick out exactly where it was in the tree you were looking with the thermal. So yeah, it's given me quite a challenge this morning. It's certainly a lot more challenging hunting squirrels like this than what it is when you've got a feeder and they're coming to that on a regular basis. You can sit and pick them off as they're eating. Come on, girl, you better go. what an amazing experience that was. That is what makes getting up early and coming out, whether you shoot anything or not, regardless, it's moments like that that just make it all worthwhile for me. I managed to record a bit of that through the scope, as you've obviously seen, but there was a roe doe and her son came walking through the woods there and came within, well, 5 metres of me. I don't know if you can see on the camera, but just behind me there's a bent over branch that hangs down on the edge of those nettles there on the edge of the forest clearing, and she was stood just on that, and the little young buck was behind her looking and watching. So I got to the point, my arm was aching from holding the rifle up, that I ended up, I just told her to be on her way. But amazing to see, lovely. They're beautiful creatures, roe deer. Right, I'll go and pick these squirrels up, and then I think I'll call it a morning. But very pleased, good start to the day. Oh good, so there's one of the squirrels. Excellent. Oh, and there's the other one there as well, behind. So, perfect. Nice little pair of squirrels and a few feral pigeons, so worthwhile outing this morning and last night. So back home for coffee and breakfast, I reckon.
A well-deserved cup of coffee for Mark there. Unfortunately, that's all we've got time for on this week's shooting show, but join us next week for some more action. And if you're not a member of BASC, make sure you join. I'm Chris Castle, and thanks for watching.
If you aren't a member of BASC, it's time to join now. BASC, looking after your sport, looking after you.